Many of you are probably concerned about what's been going on. And because of that, I'm going to be sharing how CLV is absolutely relevant to managing this cookie-starved digital future. A little bit about me first. I am the Chief Analytics Advocate here at ClickInsight. And we are a team of digital analytics strategists and specialists located in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And it's fall later today. Maple Leaf is turning red here in Canada. And as a Google partner, or Google certified partner, certified across Google Analytics, Tag Manager, Data Studio, and Optimize. But Google isn't our only tool in our toolkit. Adobe Analytics has always been significant for us, as has Telium IQ Tag Manager and visualization tools such as Tableau, Power BI, and privacy management tool OneTrust. And with this, like OneTrust is familiar to a lot of folks. This has put us on the front line, like the front lines of our evolving digital reality. And challenges increasing every day, making it more and more challenging to connect the dots on the customer journey. And I think there are others who are talking about this later today and tomorrow. Cookie deprecation. We have to learn to reduce our reliance on cookies. And also there are browsers. Browsers are more and more increasingly allowing do not track. Like, do not track me at all. So there's another hit to your data, the data quality and what's available. Personal data, the handling regulations, they vary around the world. And that's, I think, the latest speaker who's coming up later today or tomorrow, Steen Rasmussen. He posted that in Denmark, they're the latest to say that out of the box, the universal analytics version of Google Analytics is illegal. But the good thing is that the Danes, they have provided some guidance about what's going on. So with all this in mind and everything changing, and this announcement, for example, in Denmark, and there's already been announcements in Austria and Italy and Germany and many other places, France. So with this all in mind, it is not surprising to me that many business owners and marketers are really, really troubled by this unclear environment, and they're feeling stuck, right? This really foggy feeling that the ground is just shifting. Well, there is a good news to all of this, but first of all, we have to recognize that part of why we are feeling foggy and unclear about what to do next is that digital marketing, even though it's been here for roughly, in the scheme of how long we've been on this earth, it's only really 20, 30 years, but we have entrenched habits, right? And for some, it's almost robotic. Launch a website, add the analytics code. Launch a campaign, add marketing pixels. And then that's it, right? And the next step is pull data. I think Valentine talked about this at the start as well, about this robotic thing that's going on. So it's definitely time for a change. And that's why I'm here today. I would like for those of you who are on to just shift your mindset a little bit. And that's actually how you clear up the fogginess. So if I can just shift your thinking and shake things up a bit so that you just start asking, what can I do differently? Then I'll have been successful today. So let's talk about CLV. So why I'm here today, and I'm really excited to hear all this sessions and ideas and try and knit this all together for not only ourselves, but our customers as well, is because there is a better way. And CLV Revolution, the thinking that you have today, can be your beacon out of this fogginess. If you aim for CLV, and I mean not really the metric that will help you, but if you aim for it, the mindset shift that you will attain, what will happen as you try to go on the CLV journey, this will help you just shift your mindset and really, really focus on what's necessary. And as you improve CLV, you don't just have CLV alone, you need a partner in this, and that is customer value optimization, or CVO. So really happy about Valentine's book that's coming out, because it's going to show you the path. So if CLV is your beacon and the mindset, and CLV is the path, the methods, then the way I look at this is that CLV mindset plus CLV methods is profitability magic. For e-commerce for sure, but not just e-commerce, but any business that you might be in, even if it's lead generation and all the conversions are offline, CLV, CVO, all the methods, whether it's digital, offline, or mixed, it's all going to work. So the formula, I'd say, is mindset plus method gives you profitability magic. That's the magic formula. So on to the 3 key mindset changes. First of all, focus on delivering outcome over output. And what I mean by outcome over output, it all goes back to value. And some people in this robotic mode say, okay, I got to put out my 1 email a week, right? Deliver relevant, caring emails. Right? Deliver relevant value. That's what you want. So fewer email blasts. And I think we can all agree that that's probably what we want to do is reduce that. If you're posting community and you've got a community, it's great. That's great for building understanding and actually helping you figure out what's going on. But once again, don't just robotically post and not interact. So how do you get to relevant value? It's already been mentioned right off the top, journey mapping. This is where you can actually figure out what needs to be done. So identify your client niches that really are going to be the right ones for you, and then create these customer journey maps. So rather than focusing on funnels and tactics, think about what's the outcome, what's the value for our clients, our customer niches, right? Why are they doing what they're doing? What are they trying to accomplish? What's success look like for them? Right? What's their outcome? And you might say, well, this is a lot of work. Yes, indeed, it's a lot of work, but think about 80-20. Most likely, if you analyze the data for your clients, your ideal clients, those ideal customers, 20% will deliver to you the most profitability. And then focus on them, right? Not saying, don't look at other opportunities, but if you need to start somewhere, focus on the 20% that delivers to you the most profitability. So the next step, very important to delivering outcome over output, is design. Design really matters. And it's very, very important in this digital reality where you have to design around the blind spots. Recognize the blind spots, don't complain about them. And once you've mapped your journeys, right? If you have indeed mapped these interactions, then you will be able to map around these blind spots. It's easier than you think. You just got to get started. To take from Nike, just do it, get started, and iterate from there. You're not going to get it perfect the first time. And as we say, ClickInsight, like progress, not perfection. But you're always looking to find the better way to do this every day. Don't aim for perfection right off the top. Aim for excellence, and you will get there in time. So designing with the blind spots in mind. Definitely what you need to do is, if you have a community or an email process and automation, design the conversations you're going to have. I really like what Carl shared earlier today. This is a perfect example of what he said, where you key on the fact of what someone bought, and coming up to winter, you send them a note that says, in order to, and I'm paraphrasing here, in order to enjoy this next year, next summer, make sure you take these steps to protect your plants over the winter, right? So it's totally relevant. It's not just an email blast of, winter's coming up, you need to do these 20 things. Right? Some of them might be irrelevant to you, but if you have that information in your CRM, now you know what's happening. Right? So design the conversation to be relevant. And with that, the next thing that you need to do is make sure that you measure the outcomes, because it is a lot of work, right? And you want to see what's working and what's not. So outcomes, focusing on that, design to make sure that you are being relevant to the conversation. And with all of this, one mindset thing that is really important to keep in mind is to aim for building trust. Don't want any short-term tricks. And I know, yes, we want to have the silver bullet. We want to have, like, what's the tool that will give me this quick win solution? There's a really great story of what happened in a training course this is a while ago, when digital analytics training that's going on. And Justin Petroni, digital analytics leader, evangelist, was giving a training session on how to use Google Analytics and how to interpret the metrics that's there. And he gets to bounce rate. So bounce rate is when someone comes to your website, lands on the site, does nothing, and leaves. That's a bounce. And so the percentage of people who do that, that's your bounce rate for your campaign. Someone puts up their hand and says, what's the best tool to reduce bounce rate? And you said, that's easy. It's your brain, right? So when you're looking at a bounce rate and let's say it's 80% or something like that, right? Why is the bounce rate high? Why are people not coming and staying? Why are they not sticking? Why are they leaving? Well, take a look at your landing page message, your advertising message. Like, is there something that's not working there? Are you not really acknowledging the customer journey and just jumped in too quickly, right? So there's no tool that will give you the silver bullet of fixing this. And that's the same thing as CLV. There's nothing except your brain and going through the mapping and that process that Valentine showed in the very first session, that map. Those are the steps that you have to think about and work through. And you're not going to get it perfect, like I said before. But starting out by knowing your customer and your client is absolutely the right thing to do. So the first thing, again, be relevant, right? Cookie banners. Everyone has them now. It's super annoying. Like here in Canada, having that cookie banner is not mandatory. There are tools out there that, there are many, many of them right now, where you can have it such that in certain countries, if you can detect that the person's in a certain specific country, they're from Canada, for example, you don't show it. But if they're from an EU country, you do show the cookie banner pop up and you don't let them get past that, right? If they're from California, you might want to show something that's relevant to getting permission to be able to market to them. So know what the difference is in wherever you might be. And don't be annoying. So whether email, community, I think those are the two most powerful ways to connect. But you want to make sure that you're not overdoing it, you're being relevant, and that you are having conversations. It's not clutter. And once again, I'd like to draw on what Carl said this morning. I think his example was great about conversations that are relevant. And I think he gave one very, very specific guidance there, which is separate your caring emails from your commercial emails, right? And don't get them all threaded together or try to have one email blast. I hate the word email blast, but don't have one email blast that goes out that has everything in there. So it's a lot more work, but if you focus on 80-20, once again, you should be able to manage that. For those of you who are in business to business, I think that account-based management, or ABM, B2B, it's a great supporting methodology for CLV and CVO. So being that digital analytics is my thing, let's move on to a few things that everyone can do when you're talking within your organization. And there was that boat, the two boats that Valentine shared early on, where trying to break down silos. This is a great topic to bring everybody together. And some of you might groan, but it's responsible data design. So if you get the first three mindsets in there, outcomes first, design matters, and you want to gain trust. We need to be able to ask for consent in a respectful and not, once again, robotic way, right? We want to design conversations and we want to get permission. So we need to ask for consent to be able to have those conversations, whether they're in emails or in a community. With responsible data design, and you need to take a look at what's relevant for your place in the world, because it certainly varies by country, even within the EU. Think about what you can do to anonymize the data, and one big thing is anonymized location. So the technical way you might want to do it is drop the last octet in the IP address. However, that's not enough for some geographies. It's just not enough. You can also take a look at what's happening and work this into your design, where you don't look at new versus returning visitors, right? You just look at session visits, but you use your CRM and other methods, other processes, not just Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics or any kind of tool like that, but you find another way to connect the dots that's not in that specific analytics tool. And maybe it's good enough to get rid of being able to see the city, country, like country is what you focus on, but you take out city or region, state, province, you just remove that. And because you've got them in your CRM, you know a lot more about them than what's in the digital analytics tool, that you use that and stitch it all together, but not within the tool. And last but not least, and some people really super grown at this, is server-side tag management. However, there are some ways to implement this in the cloud and have an endpoint that's in the cloud. You don't physically need servers of your own everywhere. So these three areas are ways that in digital analytics, you can take these technical and process actions in order to be responsible and get and maintain the conversation with our clients, our best clients. Within the organization itself, it's really super important to work together earlier in the process. A lot of times, digital analysts and looking at the data and how to structure it, how to collect it, brought in way too late. It's after the design has happened, after the budget's in place, right? So some of the areas that need to be considered and where it would help to have a data discussion way up front before the budgets are even set, when you're sort of trying to figure out what the storyboarding, like just that level, you're still going at paper and maybe sketching on whiteboards at that time. Bring analysts into your campaign design, your content design, definitely the budget discussions and the schedule. There's so many times where it's assumed that, oh, we're just going to add the tracking code. We're just going to tag these campaigns. And it's too late. It's not enough time. And it might be that the analysts come in and say, it would have been a lot easier if during your design stage you had done this or you had considered this. The problem is then even if it's in sprints, it's, oh, we can't quite do that now. That's going to have to be later. And that just later may never happen. We've had situations, unfortunately, we do try and advise our clients to make sure that when there's a website redesign or something of that nature, get right up front. We've got clients that, 1.5, 2 years later, it's still not done. So it's a teaching moment. The next time that a website is done, the good thing is don't let that problem time go to waste. Make sure you get in there and use that story from, remember the last time we did this? Didn't quite handle this, didn't have the data then when we launched, couldn't tell the difference, but what happened before and after. Needed that baseline to be able to measure improvement. All of those discussions, if they didn't happen one time, try to have it such that it happens for the next project. So summarizing the three key things that I think everyone needs to think about, no matter which management silo, which group you're in. Journey maps, absolutely key, whether it's going to be your CLV or processes, offline, online, B2B, B2C, direct to customer, whatever it might be. Focus first on outcome and value. Next, design matters, and most explicitly, design the conversations. Make sure you can detect if the conversation is happening. And that's why analysts need to be in on the start in the design phase. And definitely collect data responsibly. Make sure you collect the data that matters and put it in a place that's safe, protected, and you know what you've got there. Okay, so that's it. Left time for question and answer, discussion. If anybody wants to pipe in, I'll take a look at the chat in a second. However, here's how you can reach me. If you want a copy of the slides, send an email to clv@clickinsight.ca. And about collecting data responsibly, if some of you are interested in some of the Google Analytics 4 that's going on, we do have an upcoming webinar, and where we'll be talking about the top 4 Google Analytics 4 migration secrets that will help smooth things out for you, and you can sign up here.